This is CNN Breaking News.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ashley Banfield, and welcome to Legal View. Breaking news. We begin with this small plane which has crashed into a building at Wichita's Mid-Continent airport. It lost engine power on takeoff, and it hit that building. At this point, we are not sure how many people were on board the aircraft, but our affiliate, KSNW, is reporting that one person is in critical condition and that 10 people right now are unaccounted for. I want to bring in CNN's aviation analyst, Mary Schiavo, a former inspector general for the U.S. Department of Transportation. Mary, I know this is a familiar airport to you. We have very little reporting, but the pictures might tell more of a story from your perspective.
They do, Ashley. The pictures tell a lot. This is an airport, Boeing has facilities out there, and many other aircraft manufacturers have facilities in Wichita. The airport, though it's a small city, they have big, long runways. So what we know just from the fact that it was taking off from an airport that it can accommodate just any kind of plane that there is, that they clearly had a catastrophic mechanical failure. Now, they said they lost engine power. I suspect there's more than that because given the length of the runways, if they had lost their engine power right as they lifted off, they might, in this small of a plane, they might have actually had the ability to put it back down again, although any obstruction at the runway would have, at the end of the runway, would have been in danger, posed a danger to them. And then from the size of the fireball in the building, and oh my goodness, what a terrible fireball, we can tell clearly that they had lots of fuel on board. So it's already known that they did have a mechanical, but whatever kind of mechanical it was, and I believe the early reports are that it's a twin engine, so they had to have lost both because you are able, well, it's tough, it takes a very skilled pilot, you are able to usually pull out, manage with one, but it's very difficult. And so clearly a catastrophic mechanical problem.
Can I ask you just, with some of the reporting that we have from the local affiliates, KAKE-TV says it's a King Air 200. The FAA saying it's the small twin-engine Beech aircraft. Two questions. How many people could be on board that sort of aircraft? And how many people at this time of day might have been in the flight safety building, which is what we're looking at, where the aircraft hit?
Mm-hmm. Well, the King Air, depending upon the configuration, can hold anywhere to like 6 to 9 people. It's a pretty robust plane. Stretched versions of it actually have been in commuter service, passenger service, but this plane is a private configuration, probably up to about 9. And the flight safety building, I'm very familiar with their work. They would be full at this time of day. They have all sorts of facilities in there. They have, just numbers of employees. So this is just the worst time that they could possibly be, they could possibly have any kind of impact with the building. It really could have been full of people.
What does that mean, though, Mary? When you say full, what does full mean?
Oh, in that building, I won't say hundreds of people, but they could have had dozens of people in the building at that place at that time.
It could have been dozens of people. I know at this point I want to reiterate that right off the top of the show we said there were 10 people at this point unaccounted for. What is close by, and I'm tapping your memory on this, so apologies if it's tricky, but what is close by in terms of the emergency response? How much emergency personnel could be there to start trying to find these people unaccounted for?
Well, Wichita, like I said, it is, I call it a small city, but it is a city, and they do have the facilities and the emergency facilities at the airport, and they would have called in also facilities from the city nearby. They have the emergency response vehicles right at the airport, and then Wichita is not very far away. this airport is in pretty close proximity to Wichita, so they would have been able to get the emergency equipment there very quickly. But with this, with this kind of a fireball that we're seeing from the pictures, it's very difficult for even the emergency equipment to get in. They're going to have to get the heat and the smoke under control first. And it was, with this kind of a fireball, it was clearly an awful lot of fuel.
Mary, let me just listen in on the fire chief for a moment, if I can, live.
The airport crews arrived first, reported heavy smoke and flame, and what appears to have been an aircraft striking the building. Firefighters, of course, engaged in a horrific firefight for several minutes. We now have fire under control. We're in the process of trying to determine if all the employees and visitors who may have been in the building are accounted for. We don't know what may have caused the incident, but we have a number of public safety officials here that can address maybe specific questions. I can say we do know that at least 4 people have been transported to a local hospital with injuries. We don't know if these are trauma injuries or burn injuries. We've also been told by a Sedgwick County Emergency Medical Service that there are at least 2 dead. We're trying to confirm their identities and gather more information. And I'll let the others speak if you have questions.
Ron, did you? I'm sorry. Did I hear you right? Did you say the words horrific fire?
It was horrific. There was heavy smoke on the horizon as you approached the airport for miles. A very challenging fire, as you might imagine. It appears the aircraft truck struck the top of the building, catching the building on fire, and would have caused some fire to be inside the building. There were a number of people inside the building at the time. We're trying to determine how many and if they're all accounted for.
So we don't know.
You mentioned 2 fatalities. Were they inside the plane or inside the building?
We know that there were 2 inside the building. The search operation is ongoing. We may find more, but right now we don't know.
Are the fatalities in the building or on the plane?
I'm sorry.
Were the fatalities the ones on the plane, though?
No. At this point, we don't know. The 2 fatalities were inside the building.
Ron, was the plane taking off or trying to land?
That we don't know. I believe it was taking off. I believe it was scheduled to leave at maybe 9:46 this morning.
Was that an Eagle Med or?
Chief Sanders can speak to that.
The aircraft was a King Air. The owner of the aircraft has not been determined at this point in time.
A King Air 200?
A King Air, correct.
For those of us unfamiliar with that type of aircraft, how big is it in general, and were there people on board that you're aware of?
Medium-sized airplane, I would say, and as far as we know at this point in time, there was 1 soul on board the aircraft.
And Chief, again, we don't know. Was there an engine that was lost on takeoff, or do we have those details yet?
We do not have those details at this point in time.
In terms of the building itself, can you catch us up on the structure? Is it collapsed? Is it still on fire? What do we know about it?
Well, right now the building's current condition is unstable. Firefighters or fire crews were taken out of the building after about 30 minutes of firefighting because of concerns about structural integrity.
So what we're hearing out of Wichita, Kansas right now, a confirmation that at least 2 people have died in this air crash. Those were bodies that were found inside the building, but like you heard the fire chief say, there were many people in the building. They haven't accounted for how many people, employees and visitors to the building, were even in there before they can start searching for further possible fatalities or survivors. 4 people transported to the hospital with injuries. And then you also heard him say that those 2 fatalities didn't include the person who was on board that King Air 200. But they do say that there was only 1 person who was on board that flight, presumably the pilot, and that person has not been accounted for at this time. We're going to continue to watch this story as it develops in Kansas. We're also watching far more northerly, a point in the northeast.